Let's build a couple of Vue components. So Vue allows you to build large web applications in terms of components that can be combined into much larger, more complex behaviors. Here's an example of one top-level component that contains three other components. One of them contains two subcomponents, and the one on the right contains three components. So this creates a hierarchy, like a tree, like an inverted tree, where you have a root component that represents this root user interface that contains the entire application, which then contains three other subcomponents, like this one here at the top of the header, and then the left component, the right component. And then each one of them, for instance, this one in the middle, represented here, the one on the left, has two subcomponents, and then the one on the right, represented by this node over here, has these three subcomponents here listed as its children. So to create components in Vue is fairly simple. We use the view.component function, takes two arguments. The first one is the name of the component, or how is it that we want to refer to it in the rest of the application. And this is going to be the HTML selector, the element, how we want to refer to it in the HTML document. The second argument is a configuration JSON object, of which one of the things that we can configure in the configuration is the template, or the HTML of how is it that we want this component to render. In this case here, we're creating a single to-do item. The template is going to be an LI, a line item, and right now it's going to be a hard-coded text. The declaration of the component needs to occur before the declaration of the Vue application. In this case here, we have a single trivial Vue application that is just declaring the element where everything's going to be rendered, and that application is going to be referring to this component here above. So let's look at the app element and see how it refers to this component. So here it is. This is the div that represents the application. We have the identifier here, which is exactly how we declared Vue that's going to be rendering in. And then in there, we have references to our to-do item element that we declared earlier as a Vue component. What Vue is going to do is that when it parses the DOM, it's going to find these references to these component elements, and it's going to replace them with the templates that were declared earlier. So this template right here, this is a to-do. So these two items right here are going to be replaced with this content li. This is a to-do. All right, so let's try to do this. Here we have an application that we have been building. Has been already declared. We have the Vue constructor here, and is referring to this app div, which is up here, this div right here. So let's create here a section where we can play around with some simple components. So Vue components. So let's create a to-do item here. Again, right before the declaration of the app. We'll use the script tag, and in there we're going to use the component function to declare a to-do item, and we're going to configure it as a template. Template will just render a simple li to-do item. Let's close this. Once we have the component declared, we can then reference it anywhere inside of the div that represents the application. So for instance, here we can create an ordered list, right? And then we can reference our new component. I think we called it to-do item. I believe that's what we call it. Yeah, to-do item. There it is. And then we can just refresh the page here, and notice that there it is. The to-do item is rendering this custom component. We can copy and paste several of these and save that. We need to use the syntax where we use both the opening and closing tags. And when refresh, there it is, the to-do item. Render as many times you see the instances of the elements.